Hi everyone, hope you're well. Thank you for joining me for the final instalment of the class. For this section, I've just got a folded towel and a cushion that I'm going to rest my head on in a little bit. So grab those if you would like to. So please remember just to work to the level that feels comfortable for you. Okay, if anything doesn't feel comfortable, please just stop the exercise. Okay, all right, let's get started then. We're going to do a little bit of buttock strengthening work on our side. So I'm sure you'll all be familiar with these next few exercises. So I'm going to come and lie onto my side. I'm going to place the folded towel in between my head and my outstretched arm. Lengthen through the top side of the waist and just give yourself a little bit of space underneath the bottom side of your waist there. We folded at the hips and the knees so the feet are just level with the bottom there. So you can imagine you're leaning against a wall there with the back of your head, base of your spine and your feet. So we're going to go into plan level 1 to start with. So before we start to move, let's just roll our hips forwards towards the floor a little bit, and hopefully that's going to help us target into that muscle that sits just behind our bottom. So from there, when you're ready, gently float that top knee up towards the ceiling and then gently lower it down. So the feet are staying relaxed on the floor at this stage and you're just floating that top knee up. So the pelvis stays nice and stable. You can imagine you've got a drink resting on your pelvis there and that movement comes from your hip. Now with level 1, we're just looking to try and activate that muscle that sits just behind your hip, sort of where your back pocket of your jeans would be. So don't worry if your range isn't too far, if you're not getting too high up with that knee, that's totally fine. We're just trying to get that activation. So you can breathe out as you float up, breathe in as you gently lower, and then keep that going. We're going to do 4 more, breathing out as you float up, breathing in as you lower. Keep that going, floating up, gently lowering down. Nice and relaxed through the upper body. Couple more. And then again, last one. So to go into level 2, make the exercise a little bit more challenging. We float our feet a few inches off the floor. Imagine like your feet are just resting on a sort of stool that's a few inches off the ground. And we do the same movement. We open up that hip and then we gently lower down. Keep that going. Breathing out as you lift, breathing in to lower. So now we've lifted those feet up, it allows us a little bit more range into the hip. So really try and go for it there. Breathing out, really float that knee up towards the ceiling. And you might start to feel a little bit warmer into your buttock there. Keep that going. Breathing out as you lift, breathing in as you lower. Again, if you start feeling it in other places, maybe down the outside of your hip, more at the front of your hip, roll yourself forwards a little bit more, just to try and target into that buttock. Breathing out as you float up. We've got 4 more there. Breathing out. Good. Keep it going. Really try and float that knee up towards the ceiling. Really try and get as much range as you can into that hip. And we'll go for 1 more there. Excellent. Well done, guys. Lower your feet down. Give your bottom a little bit of a rub if you need to. We are going to go into lift and lower now. So the bottom leg is going to stay where it is. We're going to take the top leg straight. So it's parallel towards the floor, by which I mean the foot hasn't dropped lower than the hip. We're still on that same level. Okay. So from that start position, you're going to float your foot up towards the ceiling and then gently lower it back down. We can point your toes on the way up and then flex your foot on the way down. Keep that going. So the amount you lift depends on what's happening through your pelvis there really, because we really just want the movement to be coming from your hip, floating up, gently lowering down. So we've still got that little bit of space underneath the side of your waist there. Keep going, floating up, lowering down. Good, keep that going. So you might start to feel a little bit warmer into the buttock. If you want to make this movement more challenging, you can turn the foot to face up towards the ceiling so you get a little bit of rotation outwards at the hip. Keep that going for 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Excellent, guys. Let's bring the foot back parallel. We're going to finish here with some hip circles. So we're going to circle from the hip. We're going to do 6 in one direction. Again, the circles aren't massive. We're just keeping it nice and smooth and controlled. Last one in this direction, hold it there. Then change direction, nice and relaxed through the upper body. And keep that going. Good, movement coming from the hip. Last couple. And then gently lower down, well done. Give your bottom a little bit of a rub again. We are going to take a stretch into your buttocks after these few exercises in a few minutes. All right, but before we roll on to the other side, it's a nice position here to go into your arm opening. So I'm going to actually grab the larger cushion, which makes it more comfortable for your head. So I'm going to pop my head at the front of that cushion, then I'm going to bring my arms in front. So arm opening is a really nice exercise to get some movement through your mid-back and a little bit of a chest stretch as well. So you're going to float your top arm up towards the ceiling and you're going to slowly turn to look towards that top arm. And then you're going to keep moving through your mid-back. The arm just follows what that mid-back is doing now. So the arm just goes as far as that mid-back allows. So your gaze keeps following. And breathe out as you gently sink into that range. And then slowly come back. So I want you to imagine this time you've got a torch shining on your chest in front of you. And it slowly goes up the wall, that torch. Goes up the wall and then it goes slowly along the ceiling. So you're really getting that opening across the chest. Get some lovely movement through the rib cage, through the mid-back, while keeping the pelvis and the lower back reasonably quiet. They're not moving. We're getting that movement through the mid-back. It's a nice, comfortable, supported way to get a nice stretch across the chest and some lovely movement through the mid-back. So just enjoy that. Take your time. Reach. So I'll repeat again. The arm only goes as far as that mid-back allows. We don't just let the arm go. It's nice and smooth and controlled. And you can hold it there for breath and then gently come back over. Nice. And you can repeat that as many times as you like. It feels a really nice way to open up into your mid-back. All right, we're going to do our butt exercises on the other side. So I'm going to change ends. I'm going to bring my towel and my cushion to the other end. And again, I'm going to set up with the towel in between the outstretched arm and my head. Lengthening through the top side of the waist, you've got a little bit of space underneath the bottom side of your waist. So we're setting up for clam level 1. We've got the feet level with the bottom there. And we're going to roll the hips forwards a little bit. Okay, so when you're ready, breathe out and start to float that top knee up towards the ceiling and then gently lower it down. So again with level 1, just trying to get that activation into that buttock muscle that sits just behind your hip where your back pocket of your jeans would be. If you start to feel it in other places, roll your hip forwards a little more and see if you can just target into that area. Breathing out as you hover, breathing in as you lower. Keep that going. Breathing out as you lift, breathing in as you lower. Good. Keep that going. Breathing out to hover, breathing in to lower. And again, don't worry if the range doesn't feel too much, just aiming to get that activation with level 1. We're going to go for 4 more. Breathing out as you hover, breathing in as you lower. For 3, pelvis nice and quiet, movement coming from the hip, opening up. We've got 2 more here at this level. Breathing out to lift, breathing in to lower. Breathing out to lift and breathing in to lower. Excellent. Let's float our feet up, go into level 2. So from there, breathing out open and then gently lower down. So you'll be able to see and feel that you can get a little bit more range here into that hip with those feet floated up. Less supported because we've got the feet hovering away from the floor, but hopefully we can get a little bit more movement into that hip as we open it up and then gently lower down. Keep that going, breathing out and then breathing in to lower. Let's go for 4 and 3 and 2. Keep nice and relaxed through the upper body as we focus that movement. Centers engaged, we're keeping nice and stable through the pelvis. One final one there. And then gently lower down. Nice, guys. We'll pop your feet down. Give your bottom a little bit of a rub if you need to. Let's go into your lift and lower. So bottom leg stays where it is. We take the top leg all the way straight. If you've done this exercise a few times, you're starting to feel more comfortable with your sideline balance, you can take your bottom leg straight. That makes it harder to balance on your side. Okay, so do as you feel comfortable today. All right, so when you're ready, we float the leg up towards the ceiling and we gently glide it back down. So the start and finish position is with the leg parallel to the floor. And keep that going. We can point the toes on the way up, flex the foot as we come down, and keep that going. Lengthening through the top side of the waist, keeping a little bit of space underneath the bottom side of the waist. And we're nice and relaxed through the upper body. And as we did on the other side, if you want to make it more challenging, you can turn your toes up to face towards the ceiling, just adding a little bit of rotation. That outward rotation at the hip can help get into that buttock a little more. Floating up, gently lowering down for 4, for 3, for 2, and last one. And then gently hold it there if you can. And let's finish the series with those hip circles here. So we can point our toes now, nice and long through the leg. We're going to do 6 circles in either direction. Keep breathing. 3, 2, 1. Hold it there. Let's change direction. You can imagine you've got a pencil between your big toe and your second toe, and you're drawing a circle on that opposite wall. Keep that going. Pelvis nice and stable. Circle just coming from the hip. Oh, we're nice and warm into the buttock there. 2 and 1 and relax. Nice, guys. Give your bottom a little bit of a rub if you feel you need to there. All right, let's go into that arm openings exercise on this side. So I'm going to grab my cushion again. I'm going to place my head right onto the front of the cushion and bring your hands in front. You're going to float that top arm up towards the ceiling. You're going to slowly turn to look towards that arm. And then through the mid-back, through the rib cage, let's start to move and rotate. Going as far as feels comfortable for you. And then gently come back. And again, we can imagine that torch shining from our chest, right in front of us. The torch goes up the wall and then along the ceiling. Breathing out. Just enjoy that chance to move through your spine. Again, the pelvis and the lower back are quiet. The movement is coming through that middle part of your back. Breathing out, hover that arm. Turn. Use that breath to help you go into that rotation. If you want to hang out there for a couple of breaths, you can do. And then gently come back. And we'll do one more there. Feel free to hang out there if you want to do a few more. Feels like a great movement there. And then gently come all the way back on to your side. Excellent. We're now going to move on to your tummy and go into a couple of prone exercises. So I'm going to pop that larger cushion out the way. I'm going to grab the folded towel. I'm going to fold it over again just so I've got 1 inch or 2 support, and I'm going to pop my forehead onto that folded towel. I'm going to bring my arms long down by my sides, and we're going to go into breaststroke prep. We're going to do levels 1 and 2, and again I'm sure you guys are familiar with the exercise from the classes. So the legs are nice and relaxed. Think about drawing your tailbone down towards your heels a little more. That will put a little bit more pressure through the pubic bone at the front and hopefully help to keep your lower back in a neutral position. If you want to add a cushion underneath your tummy, if that feels more comfortable, go ahead and do so. All right, so from here, we're going to open across the chest, so a nice big smile across the collarbones, and then you're going to hover the arms a couple of inches away from the floor, and the palms come to face towards your thighs. And then we relax the arms and we relax across the chest. Let's go again, opening across the chest, hovering the arms. At the same time, gliding the shoulder blades down towards the hips. So what we're aiming for here is to feel some activation in those muscles between your shoulder blades, and they help us to keep more in an upright position and work on that sort of upper mid-back posture to avoid that sort of rounded, slumped position through the upper body that we often find ourselves in. So open across the chest, hover the arms, reaching the fingers down towards the toes. Gently relax the arms and relax the chest. Let's go into level 2 now. So we're going to open across the chest. At the same time as you hover your arms, hover your chest. So the back of the neck stays long, chin still tucked, and I've just got a little bit of extension into that upper back. And then you gently lower the arms and lower the forehead down. And gently going again, open across the chest, hover the arms, lengthen through the back of the neck, chin stays tucked, and then gently lower down. So we're starting to challenge now those deep neck flexor muscles that run down the front of the neck. As we hover the chest and let our head and neck follow, we're working those deep neck flexors against gravity there. And then gently lowering down. And keep that going. Opening across the chest, hover the arms, reaching the fingertips down towards the toes. You can imagine that you've got a third eye on your forehead, and as you float up, that third eye stays down, looking down towards the mat. And then lower. Let's do a couple more there. Open across the chest, hover the arms, and hover the chest at the same time. Let the head and the neck follow. Gently lower the arms. And then let's go again. Open across the chest and hover. Feel free to hold it there a little bit longer if you want to challenge that position. And then gently lower down. Nice work, guys. Well done. Let's sit our bottom back onto our heels. Take a little stretch into the lower back there. Just allow your sit bones to widen and relax your lower back there. A little bit of stretch through your shoulders also. We're going to start to cool down a little bit now. We're going to come onto our hands and knees and do a cat stretch. So from there, from this position, we've got our hands just in front of our shoulders. And we're just going to do a few reaches away here to get us in a lovely position. So I want you to drop your chest towards the floor a little. Then I want you to push your hands into the mat to widen across the chest and the shoulder blades. And just do that one more time. Reach, 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 reach. The shoulders are wide, the chest is wide. Hold that position there, so you're nice and wide and open across the shoulder blades, nice and supported through the upper body. And let's go into your cat stretch. So we're going to move from your tailbone first. So the tailbone is going to aim behind your knees. You're going to start to round through your lower back, through your mid back, all the way through the upper back and the neck. You finally then look down towards your belly button. And then let's gently come into the other direction. So the tailbone aims behind you. Let the tummy start to hang down towards the floor. Follow through, let the rest of your spine ripple into that cat stretch, going into a little bit more of an extension pattern if that feels comfortable. And look up in front of you and keep that going. Tailbone aims down behind your knees, rounding through your spine. Lovely exercise to get some movement all the way through your back. Nice and supported through those hands. Hips are over the knees, they stay there. And you stick your bottom out behind you, you let your tummy hang down towards the floor, then the mid back, then the upper back, and then you look ahead. We're going to do that one more time. Tilting your pelvis, tailbone aims behind your knees, you round through your spine, end up looking at your belly button, and let's come back into that opposite position, letting your tailbone stick out behind you, let your tummy hang down towards the floor, and look ahead, shoulders away from the ears. And let's stick your bottom back onto your heels, take a stretch. We're going to come onto our back to take a stretch into our buttocks after that lovely work we were doing into our buttocks. So you're going to bring your left foot across your right thigh, you're going to hold behind your right thigh. Bring your right thigh just towards your chest a little more to get a little bit deeper into that stretch. Just play around with that a little bit if you need to cross your legs over a little more. And just gently sink into that stretch a little more. Good. And then change sides. So let's bring the opposite leg over, hold behind the other thigh. And feel that stretch into the right buttock. Breathe. And again, play around with the stretch. You want to get right into that buttock. Excuse me, into the outside of that hip. Just hang out there for about 30 seconds. And then uncross your legs. We're going to roll onto your side now. And then we're going to come onto our knees. We're going to bring the hands in front. We're going to bring the left foot between the hands, then the right foot between the hands. And we're in that roll down position. So we'll let our bottom stick up towards the ceiling. Let's just hang out there for a second. Wiggle through your arms, shake your head, just let it go. Ooh, loose, just let it go. And then let's come back up into standing. Nice and slowly, tailbone comes down, gently drawing in through the lower tummy and then restacking through the spine, bone by bone by bone, coming all the way back up. Shoulders open, head lands on top, and we're nice and tall through our spine. Let's just finish with the upper back warm up here as we bring ourselves back up into standing. You're going to roll your shoulders up, back and down, then you're going to link your hands. Your palms are going to face down towards the floor. Look down towards your hands and then lift your hands up. Feel that stretch across your upper back, across the shoulder blades. And then reach your hands up towards the ceiling. Keep your gaze following your hands. You get a little bit of extension into that upper back. And then release the fingers and reach and open your arms all the way down to the side. Let's do that one more time. Roll your shoulders up, back and down. Link your fingers, palms facing down. Lift your hands up to shoulder height. Feel that stretch across your upper back. And then reaching up further towards the ceiling. Keep that going. A little bit of extension into that upper back. Breathing out, reach and open and lower. And give yourselves a clap, guys. Excellent. So that concludes the final instalment of the class. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy your Pilates, stay well, and we'll hopefully see you soon.